Trump promised us so many good things about crypto that he's going to do, which is all verbal. So it's all blah, blah. It's all great. It's nice. That's why Bitcoin pumped in November, that's, when he won the election. But on the other hand, what he did was on a Friday...
Sells the rumors by the facts.
The crypto crashed. It wasn't the problem of crypto.
Yeah, it was a problem of trade wars.
Of trade wars and tariffs.
Yeah.
And he did it on a Friday.
On evening Friday.
Friday.
All the markets, Asia, Europe was closed. Yeah.
So S&P 500 dumped a little bit, crypto dumped a little bit, and then we go into the weekend when there is no man's land, and then guess what? On a Sunday night, during the night, as usual, the last cascading liquidation was also on a Sunday because they manipulated. They know that they can manipulate the price with lower liquidity and emptier order books. They dumped out of it. Everybody just panics, gets out. Maybe they even got shocked that they got it so low. But then, on the next day, you look at it on Monday, and somehow Mexico situation is resolved. Canada situation is resolved. Eric Trump, the son of the president, comes out and says, it's a great time to buy Ethereum. He posted it on Twitter. And then they also said that David Sachs, who is the crypto czar, is going to be speaking on behalf, like a press conference on behalf of the United States and the future of digital assets in the US. And they announced it all on Monday. And then guess what? Who bought $200 million worth of Ethereum during this cascading liquidation event? Trump's World Liberty. Trump did. Trump bought the dip for $200 million. Do I need to say more?
Okay. No, it's just the facts. I saw this information, so I'm 100% agree. And what is your plans for the trading? Do you plan to trade anymore?
I'm actually long now, all things considered.
Really?
But I'm more, I'm very careful. I have stop losses. So I'm not doing one of those swing trades. I'm doing active trades with shorter stop losses.
Yeah,
and
sure.
if we do a big pump, I'll just put my stop loss into no loss and just hope that this is the beginning of the finale of the old season. But if it's not, it dumps, maybe I can lose a few percent, but that's about it. So I'm being very cautious and very careful because even if Eric Trump came out and said it's time to buy Ethereum, it doesn't mean...
It doesn't mean, it means maybe you are exit liquidity.
Maybe you're going to be exit liquidity because guess what? What proves this concept is the Trump coin. Look at the price action of Trump coin. They launch it, it goes to $80 just to dump down to $15. They don't give about the fact that billions of dollars of Americans were lost in this. All they had to do is maybe tweet something, say something, which is gonna, support the price because it's a meme coin. It's got no utility. It's got to be supported by the community and by something verbal. So they don't do it. They don't give a So it means that trusting any word out there is very challenging.
Do you think this is a change in paradigm so nobody will believe in their worlds anymore? Or after the green candles, people forget everything?
I think that, it's always like this. So people will forget everything after a candle on Ethereum of 50% in a day. They will forget. They will start jumping into it. I think that the cycle in general is changing. I think that so many institutionals are at play, and all things considered, we have so much positivity.
But we have no growth.
But Bitcoin is at 100,000.
Yeah, that means that somebody sold.
Somebody's selling.
Somebody's selling, yeah.
Or there is price suppression, which is similar terminology. But in my opinion, what is happening right now is we expected a big run when Trump was, even before, we were expecting a Christmas rally.
Yeah.
So December, nothing happened.
Yeah.
January, nothing happened.
February again.
Same. So right now, a lot of the old holders who were holding like the true crypto ones that are used to the cycles and they were burnt when they, took Bitcoin maybe from 10,000 all the way to 69,000 to write it down just again to 15,000. And right now they're scared because they just were going through so much that they're like, okay, maybe, I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to take my 5x, 10x, whatever. I'm not going to be believing in this $1 million per Bitcoin. I will just take my money now. And I think that this is because the cycle is different. And they're scared of it because they were just burnt just literally a year or 2 years ago. So I think that it also has a big impact besides the fact that retail just doesn't have much money in comparison to the COVID time and delinquency rates on credit cards and overall debt on credit cards, 1.3 trillion. It's insane. People ain't got no money. Inflation is going to be getting worse. It's changing definitely. And the big players are at the steering wheel now, which is arguably not a good thing, but long term, it's good. Long term.
Yeah.
It's always the question of, I do believe that Bitcoin is going to go to 100,000. The question is how low it's going to go before it does. Right now, any lawsuit of SEC needs to go through Trump directly. So they're completely changing the landscape. 22 states as of today are applying for on a state level for a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So I don't know what can be more bullish. And Trump is accumulating basically almost only Ethereum. We'll see. I mean, it's very promising. And they also let this guy, what was his? Not from Tornado Cash, I think. Yeah, so a lot of people were released from prison who were, not really guilty of what they were charged with. So it kind of shows that the hope for DeFi is there. That's why I'm also interested in creating Evadex US. This is what I'm flying to Washington for shortly, actually, in a couple of days. So trying to become friends with the administration. I think that the future of crypto is certainly there, unless it's all one big rug pull, which I don't really think it is. And let's be honest, what I really like about Trump, you might love him or hate him, but what he doesn't understand and listen to is the fact that what Democrats don't understand is that the dollar is dying and it's gonna die. So it's like the Changing World Order by Ray Dalio.
Yeah.
He's so right. I mean, if you look at any colonial fiat garbage system, they all have died sooner or later because of one simple thing, it's inflation. So the countries lost their power and world reserve currency status. Right now, especially with China, Russia, all these conflicts, they need to solve something. Tariffs is not gonna be enough. But Bitcoin, maybe it will be. And maybe they understand it. So, and if they do, this will be absolutely cataclysmic in a good sense.
So where to invest? In Bitcoin?
Oh, man. I've been a fan of Ethereum for a long time. I know people are hating on it.
Okay.
But honestly, if you look at Solana, same thing, which is kind of a competitor, but there is a reason why we're not building Evadex on Solana. Because, it's maybe faster and cheaper than, Ethereum as a base layer. But at the same time, if Solana dies for 4 days again and Evadex just freezes together with it.
That's the reason. Wow.
Of course. Yeah, it's not reliable. Solana is great for meme coins. And look at all the infrastructurally important projects. They're all
only related to the meme coins. Only.
On Solana, there is maybe 10% of important projects. Everything else is coins. So on Ethereum, on the other hand, there is some coins, but mostly 70% of all the stuff is on Ethereum. Look at stable coins. They're not on Solana. They're on Ethereum mostly. For this reason, we've chosen Ethereum, Arbitrum, which is an L2 of Ethereum, to build our own rollup. In general, I think that I'm still super mega bullish on ETH because even if you look at the price action, you will say, what is this? Because honestly, down to 2,000, that's the levels of the bear market almost. Yeah. But I think there is a reason why. I think that some big people just want to buy more. And they've been suppressing it, and that's why it looks horrible, but not financial advice. But I think that once the pump comes, it will be like, because I think that even if you look at the order books, at liquidity, at clusters on Ethereum, it's just abnormal. I'm not even talking about the funding raise.
Yeah, I heard about it, I saw it also.
It's powerful. 10K easy, maybe even 15, 20K. And I think once they let it go, once the change of hands finishes from the people who are impatient to the people like BlackRock who are going to be holding for the next 20 years.
20 years. Yeah, they can do.
But the question is, how low are we going to go first? That's all. So that's why not financial advice. But that's my bet. Also, for example, LDO, Lido.
Why it's always grow before the ETH? Usually several hours before the ETH, Lido is going up, but I do not understand the idea of the Lido.
This is what, for example, Donald Trump is using to stake Ethereum. So Lido is just a staking platform where you can just stake Ethereum, basically. If they're going to introduce staking into Ethereum ETF in the United States, imagine what's going to happen. They're going to mostly use Lido, arguably. Because
they need to stake it.
Yes. One of the biggest TVLs of Ethereum is on Lido. And it's been a stable coin for a long time. It's actually, if you look at the price action, it's pretty strong. It has survived the fire, the nails, and everything above. I think that Lido, once they approve the staking for the ETF, and I think that the volumes for Ethereum, at least short-term, will surpass Bitcoins because Ethereum, Bitcoin is a store of value, but Ethereum, it's fundamentally important. It's got more utility. It's more deflationary, depending on the volume. And most importantly, it pays dividends. Bitcoin doesn't. Ethereum, if you think about S&P 500, US stocks usually have no dividends or maybe 0.5%, 1%, something very little. That's just the nature of the market. And then there is a deflationary asset that is almost basically capped. And we have important infrastructure products that are going to be possibly used by the United States. And it also gives you 3 to 4% a year. Holy, they're going to absolutely jump on it. And the reason why they didn't is because they didn't approve staking. They had to remove it. But now if you pay attention to details, for example, Kraken recently, they removed staking because of SEC. But now even before the approval, they reintroduced it. So, Kraken is a US platform. They know what's coming. So they will introduce staking into the ETF, and once they do, and they're going to use Lido or a combination of services, something like Lido will do 10x. Probably in a day, it's going to show 100% stick up. So that's why I'm kind of looking at it, and I've been buying a little bit.
Hey, if you like this video, don't forget to watch a full episode, and also check the links in the description below.